Exactly. So we face different kinds of challenges in
Mhm.
addition to, that of a regular 27-year-old. So, um, so most people will say, yo, focus on saving, yo, focus on putting away the little
Yeah,
bit that you got. I was like, you know what? That to me is not really going to move the needle like I want.
yeah,
So instead of doing that, although that's a good skill set to hone, I decided I would focus on earning power. So I
yeah.
was like, yo, let me get my earning up,
Mhm.
right? And I've been able to do that over the years, and it's a slow and steady kind of thing, but I've seen how that's made a really big impact on my situation because instead of saving, instead of like investing my mindset into saving 10K, let's say over 1 year. I
Yeah,
think that's how long it would have taken me to save $10,000 would have been 1 year. And I'm
mhm.
talking saving
Yeah,
everything,
hard.
just like no Starbucks, no none of that shit, right?
Yeah,
Just saving. And over the years, I've gotten to the point where I can make that same 10K in an hour now,
yeah,
on stage.
right.
And that's because I invested instead of investing my money into saving it, I
Mhm.
took that cash and I invested it into my own personal brand and just developing my brand, my reach, and what. And so I went through it's almost, and it can be counterintuitive because you go through a period where it feels like a step back because now what you're doing is instead of taking that money and setting it aside, you're actually actively investing it in the brand that is Jonas,
Yeah,
right? And so you'll have less, so you'll have even less to show for it. So you might be mad at me for a little while. You'll be like, yo, what the fuck? But it's going back in there, and here's why I say this, right? Because I want you to actively invest in the skill set that is most likely to earn you more money,
mhm.
right? So while you're at your prime, right? While you're at your prime and you have camera appeal and you got the energy and you got the chops, like
Yeah,
to me, it makes no sense why people say, yo, like, how much of a crime it would be for to take you at your prime and like operate at 50% because you want to stack a little bread,
right. Mhm.
because that bread, let's be honest, is not really going to make a difference anyway. Not
No,
in, not in the
not the
city,
not the difference that we wanna make,
not
obviously.
the difference that we want to make.
Yeah,
So I'm a much bigger fan of going aggressively into taking that cash and investing it into your ability to earn. And for me, that looked like, for instance, like I can remember my earliest things that I was buying was
mm,
like, I bought like, I actually still have it. I bought this little camera, I bought like a little camera starter set, and that shit was like, I don't know, it was like $700. I bought it on a Black Friday type of special, and it was
mhm.
that, and it came with, the little things, like came with a little starter kit and all this other shit.
Yeah,
And so I was like, all right, bet. It's $700 less that I'm gonna have anyway, but that put the pressure on myself because at that time, like 700 was 700 for me, and it
yeah,
still
right.
is, right?
Mhm.
So but that put the pressure on me to say, all right, well, what can I generate off of this now that I got this?
Mhm.
Because if you got the equipment, you might as well make some content,
Yeah,
right? So I started making some content, this and that, and then I would save up a little bit, and then I would just reinvest into that hustle always. And the thing about producing content is that it's not necessarily going to be something that makes you money in the short term, and that's why people don't do it, because people don't have faith, man. People just don't. They don't believe in the long term.
yeah,
They're like, yo, if I get this and I can't charge for a video tomorrow, then the ROI is not there. I'm like,
yeah, there's
bruh,
sponsorships coming in, you're like, "Nah."
bro, and I can tell you, my guy, trust me, like me doing this with a phone ended up getting me on TV. Fucking to me because I'm a regular guy, right?
Right.
Who just put in the work into building a persona. And the reason that I think this is so amazing, such an amazing opportunity for us is because like you take guys like us that are, pretty much regular guys, let's say, but if we put in the work to build a web presence, a brand, a persona, then that starts elevating us from other people in the
Mhm.
marketplace. And what this is going to do for you is you're going to see how your rate as a trainer, as a rider, your rate's going up, right?
Mm,
Because you start creating this like halo effect around you. And it's almost weird to explain, but like what happens is the more, you're sharing things about your journey, things about what you've had to overcome to get there, right? So it's not all just like, yo, this is how you ride. It's actually more in just investing content, sharing perspective on your own self as a person.
Yeah.
And then what happens is people start building context on you, like, yo, I fuck with this guy. Right. And like over time, you know, your as your viewership goes and your audience grows, and you're sprinkling in the, you know, your classes that, you know, you get busy, right?
Yeah.
And you're out there and you're riding, and you know, your fan base starts growing. And
Right.
just like how you told me earlier, like, yo, it was recent that we connected, but I saw that one video and, you know, that's what it was. The funny thing is, you know, I've been doing, this is probably like session 100 plus now for me in the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
And, you know, people have discovered me through all different types of shit, right? Like
Yeah. Like,
it was a different video for each person, or a different piece of content, or, you know, a talk that I did one time that I forgot about that, you know, stuck with one person. And so I'm seeing, like, in a really tangible way, how just planting seeds over so long, people will be like, yo, I will, if, you know, once you start sharing content, people will say, yo, I caught you from that one video that you did with my homegirl, or this or that, or someone told me, and you just start building and slow and steady this foundation. And you'll get to the point when your earning power, as a result of you, instead of having invested it into just saving it so it can sit idly in a bank account. And
yeah.
I understand what, you know, I understand what you're going for. Like, you want to build equity. The counterintuitive thing that I was saying is you'll get there faster by investing in the primary skill that you have and developing your ability to earn with that skill.
Yeah.
Okay. So for instance, for me, it was speaking, right? Like at first I was speaking for free, right? And then
Yeah.
I created my own meetup on meetup.com and made myself the speaker at my own event just so I could start getting some talks. And I recorded that shit, right? And then after I did that enough times, someone hit me up. It was like, yo, you want to speak? And I for the first time I decided to say, yo, what's your budget? And she was like, $1,000. I was like, I'll take it. Right. So I tried to go for 1,000. The next time they're like, yo, we don't have 1,000. We got 400. I was like, all right, bet I'll take it. And
Yeah.
so I was kind of in this range where what I was prioritizing more was not necessarily the pay, but it was the reps and just the act of being paid for the skill. And, you know, that same skill, you know, over time, as I built this halo effect,
It even,
went
yeah. I mean,
with
you
the,
also got better, I'm sure. Like those, like,
exactly. And it's a bizarre thing, but when you see yourself played back, you have to see yourself when you first see yourself, because it's our own insecurities coming out. So I would be like, yo, I was a little too this, I was a little too that. I didn't like the delivery.
cringy.
Yeah, and it'll make you uncomfortable. But if you could just have the bravery to say, you know what, let me just share it because this could help someone, and I'm just getting in my own way. And then that revision that you know you wanted to make, if you incorporate it for the next time, instead of slowing down your whole process and being like, nah, I'm not gonna get this out until it's ready, just put it out and say, all right, for next time, I'ma include this. And
Yeah.
then so then what happens is 100%, like you were saying, you just get better and better. And it's been interesting, man, how, you know, I'm at the point now where I'll go to a conference and there are cats who have way more experience than me. You know, like we're still young and relatively inexperienced, but there are some cats that have way more experience, have done way more things, run bigger companies. But
Yeah.
like when I hit the stage, you know, it's
People
the John
recognize-
Henry talk, you know, like
Yeah.
people show the fuck up, bro. And I tested that and I went on tour, and it got to the point where I was going to different cities that it was my first time going,
Yeah.
and the rooms were packed and people were like, yo, and now, you know, in that one video where you said this and that. So like it got to the point where I started realizing, and it brings you great humility to know that people get to the point where they consume your journey, follow along, heed your words, act what you say, and all that brings your price up. So it's a virtuous cycle, right? It goes from a vicious cycle of obscurity, no one knows you. You're a commodity because you're just one rider of many, you know, and then that hurts against you because that works against you when it's a vicious cycle, because your ability to earn more is going to be capped based on the fact that, you know, you're in a certain profile, versus if you could take it and start working for you, and you start building the brand, building the web presence, building persona, you're continuing to do the workout sessions, you're recording them. I just want you to take shit that you're already doing. Take shit that you're already doing, recording it and sharing it and what
Yeah.
have you. And then it starts elevating your profile. And you'll get to the point where, like with these, for instance, I said, yo, I'm gonna do, some sessions. And I shared it, and they
On the life of his own.
people bought them ahead of time, mind you, on the trust that you knew that we would connect and that you would get some value.
Yeah.
And that trust is that brand from over time, right? So I'll stop there with that. And hopefully that was helpful in getting you to, getting your mind going around, okay, saving is cool, but let me invest in earning.
Yeah.
And your main skill is right now is riding, you've honed it. And so I guess I'll ask you, I see you're doing courses and sessions and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Do you envision a world in which because it sounds like you enjoy having a followership, and it sounds like you already have one already.
Yeah.
So do you envision a world where you see that kind of growing and like you want to become that dude, or kind of where do you want to take it?
Yeah, I think I mean it's crazy because I mean at this point I'm 24, but I've been
Okay.
doing it for 5 years now. So I've been with SoulCycle for 5 years, like basically my
Wow.
entire adult life. Like, because again, I got like back right from college, worked with them as clean staff for 7 months. So I mean, yeah, like I want to make it to be like, I mean, like, and I felt that like being a top dude in soul, but then also like just kind of I mean, you almost hit a ceiling. You almost hit a ceiling, and I think it almost gets to the point where like, how much money can you demand from a corporation? Like, you can't demand much. Like, I mean, like, and I'm there. Like, again, I've made like 6 figures like for the last few years, which is dope.
Amazing, bro. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. I mean, yeah, like you said, like you almost got to sit back and be like, how the fuck did I get here? Like, I was working
Right.
UPDs, like, but
Crazy.
but um but yeah, that's where I'm at. I think I just want like stuff to show for it. Like I just want like, and again, I think this is huge. Like just building that earning power is huge. And that's something that I believe in, but I kind of like go on and off on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Mm-hmm.
somebody just like, but
Yeah, no worries. And I'm watching your videos now. I'm on your page,
yeah,
and you do a good job. You have, it looks good, man. It looks good.
yeah, just like kind of a little bit sporadic. If you see, like it's almost just like like I'm definitely not as consistent,
Sure, sure.
but
And
I
it
think
takes time to build that consistency.
that. And I think I want to like, like as I make more money, like I think I look at you and I also want to invest. Like I think about that too. I think about
Mhm.
generational wealth. I think about the fact that we don't really have any, and you know that like I want to start building that too. And I
Mhm,
think
mhm.
again, like I'm in my prime, so like who knows? Like in 3 years, I might just whoop. Like I'm not.
Yeah, exactly, bro. So you're thinking about it the right way, and you get good engagement on your shit, bro. You get a lot of girls in there commenting and shit. You better work. I see them. Yo, but yeah, while you're in your prime, you're 100%, bro. You are 100% spot on. So this, and I know we're gonna build you up to the point where you can invest. Um, and look, the reality is you can invest with less cash than maybe you think. At least that was something I learned. I didn't know that you could invest with like pretty little money.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get in a deal for, depends on the type of deal, but you can buy a house for 10K. Not in New York, but so like
Do you think
you
it's
know
worth it?
Mm, maybe,
Like,
right?
like is it more worth it?
Look, so there's all kinds of investment strategies, right? So look, I'll break it down this way. Anything that's 1 through 4 units, or i.e. apartments, is considered residential. Anything 5+ is considered commercial. Okay. And the commercial assets are more attractive because the way you value them is based on the income. And whereas anything in the residential, anything 1 through 4 is kind of based on what houses in the neighborhood are worth.
Got it.
Okay. But now the thing is that to buy commercial properties, you got to have 20% down. And so now we're talking, you got to have a couple $100,000 to give it a go.
Yeah.
Whereas now here's the really interesting thing is that on the residential side, and this is where we can start working backwards from here, right? On the residential side, anything 1 through 4 units, you can get away with putting 3.5% down.
Mm-hmm.
3.5, right? So then I started thinking, I was like, okay, bet. Well, I could buy a condo for 3.5% down and, live like in a fly space that I own. But then I started thinking it through more critically and I was like, well, if I could use that same 3.5 to get into a one but it applies all the way up to a 4 unit, why wouldn't I find a 4 unit somewhere
Yeah.
and fucking get in with 3.5% down and live in 1 unit and rent out the other three? And the way when you do the math, the way it works out is you're not going to cash flow a whole lot. Like your other three tenants will at least be able to offset your mortgage, your tax, all your expenses, and maybe you'll cash flow a couple $100, but you'll also be living rent free.
Yeah.
Because they're paying for all your mortgage and shit.
So
So that's a huge blessing right there, right? Because then that puts you in a position where you really can save very aggressively. Because if you continue to make six figures or hover around that figure, whatever cost right now you're paying for your apartment, call it 2.5K, multiply that out by the 12 months, you're talking $25,000 to $30,000 a year. Now we're in a space where you can really save quite aggressively, because the 10K that you would have been able to save living in that apartment, you can now take the rent that you would have paid and add that 10K. Now you're in a place where you're saving 40K a year.
Yeah.
Right. And like, then you can really start to make moves. So let's back into that scenario for a second, just to give you a sense of like, okay, what your first taste of ownership could be like in the city. So, a 3-family or 4-family in the Bronx right now is probably going for 680, 700. And
Yeah.
remember, you only need 3.5% down. So now we're talking about you need probably 25K in cash. Let's say after fees, you probably need anywhere between 25 to 30 grand in cash. Right.
Mm.
And so and that's why I'm a really big fan of developing your ability to earn,
Yeah.
because that would take maybe 2-3 years to save that at this current rate. And so with that in mind, that you want to stack 30, maybe call it 50K. Let's say we want to stack 50K. With that in mind, let's go ahead while you're in your prime and just start earning, fucking cranking. And like, you got to be committed, and I can tell that you are. And like, when I became committed, I decided to just be a fucking crank machine, like crank. Like, I'm talking about, bruh, just ideating, content, working with home, like whatever, just outputting out, just output, and just increasing your amount of output. 1 second, bro.
Nah, you're good.
After the alarm going off. One sec.
Nah, you're good, bro.
So, yeah, man. So we, yeah, like I'm looking at your content right now, and look, a lot of this is going to be based on personal taste and preference and whatever. But you're already in the fitness world. It looks like you really enjoy it. It's affording you a great quality of life. So me being you, I would just double down on it, and I would start putting. Remember the penny in the brand jar, but also let's start putting some of that brand equity around your personal name.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and having Soul Cycle helps you. It boosts you up, and I would keep it there.
Yeah, it's a huge platform. Yeah.
Absolutely. But now let's also put some of that brand equity into your own personal. I don't know if Soul Cycle has like, things that they say that you can't do. Let's say.
Actually, that's one thing that they don't do. They don't control your likeness, which is dope.
That's amazing. So let's start doing that, bro. Let's start doing some courses. Let's start doing some content. I want to see you when you wake up early in the morning. You know, you got to commit to being this guy. I want
Yeah,
it, you know. And this is not content is not the only way that you can increase your earning power. The reality is it's something that's unique to our
yeah,
generation.
such a
That's at
beautiful.
our fingertips, and we're already on there all fucking day. So
Yeah,
I'm like, to me, it just became a no brainer. So you know, you're gonna have to get comfortable on the medium, but you know, I want you to hone your own little angle, right? Because the personal fitness space is crowded.
mhm,
So can we find what's going to be your white space in that lane?
yeah,
And the income that you have, like the spare income, I want you to invest it in your ability to spread the message.
yeah.
And you'll see it'll come back.
Yeah, I have like friends, graphic designers, and I'm like, yo, like, let's work. Word.
Let's work, bro. It's time. It's busy. Like it's time to get busy, bro. This is our time, bro. No one's gonna fix all these problems for us.
Mm,
So, like right now, you could build a massive platform, you know, teaching people color, you know, the importance of health and wellness. Because I guarantee you, the majority of the people going to your Soul Cycle courses are, you know, white and a little bit more affluent. Because you know, affluent people, you know, because they have a little bit more money, so they have less
yeah,
pressure. They have a little bit more flexibility. Then they get into health, and then it's a virtuous cycle. So that cycle is working against us right now. So just as an example, one of the things that come to mind is, can you be a voice for our community, and can you, you know, share your love for fitness and wellness in a way that we resonate with? Because if it's like, you know, Ali or fucking Chad talking to us, it's not going to resonate that much. You
right.
know, we need you to be like, yo, listen, bro. Like I wasn't on this my whole life. Like I literally started as a cleaning staff and I worked up here. And just like the more you share that message, and it'll feel repetitive, but the
I
funny
mean,
thing is,
that story is huge. Yeah, and I think that's what like got me in DC. Like, it was a huge story. It was an amazing story.
So you know, just sharing that over and over, and people are gonna be inspired by it, bro. And you're gonna be able to reach people that I can't reach, that
Mm,
are wait. You know, in reality, they're just waiting for you to step up to the plate. And I think that you have and are, and you know, will continue to. But that's my advice for you, man. I think, you know, I mapped out. I didn't spend so much time on the equity bit because I think that the piece before that is building the earning
yeah.
power,
Hmm.
right? However, I did touch on it a little bit just so you see, okay, it doesn't take that much bread to start building some equity even in New York City,
Yeah.
right? It takes
Hmm.
25, 30K cash.
Yeah.
And, you know, it breaks my heart that our community as a whole is at the point where we're asked out of home ownership because we don't get to the point where we have that amount of capital in one go ready to rock.
Which makes no sense because some
Mm,
of the, I'm sure you're around some people that's like that's a night. That's nothing.
right. So let's build the main chops while you're in your prime. Let's get the audience up. Let's get the reach out, put more content out, reach, you know, do more. And it could be simple, bro. I'm talking about do more IG live, do more
Yeah.
to folks. You already have like a decent following.
Yeah,
You
you
already
got
got
me
a
thinking like doing like yo, let's go to Macari and let's work out like social distance.
yep.
I could get 30 people in there and I could make it free and we could just like record the fuck out of it.
Boom. Thinking 100% the right way. Instead of being worried about, yo, what I'm going to charge, get them over there and
Yeah,
get a boy with a camera and fucking record them. And then afterwards, get them to be like, woo, that was a crazy session.
yeah,
Emotion, energy, you know, get a bunch of people from the hood, go to the fucking projects and do pull ups on the bar. You know,
right,
like talking about like, can we make it fresh and have people say the same way people say about me, like, oh yeah, John, yo, that cat was a doorman and then he, whatever.
yeah,
Like, you got to give them a little that line, you know, like, oh
yeah,
yeah,
right,
Jonas, yo, he was that guy that thought, and now he's doing we
right,
create that.
right.
We create what that line's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
And you just get it out there, bro, and just lock in. I promise you, bro, you lock in for 1 solid year. My preference is 2, but lock in for 1 solid year, right? 1 solid year, and that year, the next year after that first year, you'll feel it.
I'll
If
feel
you lock in for 2, your life has changed after that. I
it.
promise you, bro. Every time I've locked in for 2 years at a time, the next 2 years of my life have been on a completely different level.
All right, man, for sure. And then I mean,
You
I lock in for 2 years. I ain't even gonna be thinking about no crib. I'm thinking
Let's go.
coming in. I ain't thinking about no crib. I ain't thinking about none of that. Man.
Right, exactly. Just getting that reach out, getting that story out. Yo, this is that guy, and you'll end up in that place, man. And I'm excited for you, bro. I think it's great, and I'll follow along, to be honest. So
Appreciate you, man.
I just follow back right now. I'm looking forward to it. You know what I'm saying? I need a little fitness in my life, so you got to get my
phone.
All right. So, yo, big ups, man. I'm glad we connected. That email that I shot you my calendar on, that's my schedule. Or I'm sorry, that's my direct email. So hit me. I don't want to make it transactional. You can hit me anytime and consider us connected from this point on.
Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it.
Be well, man. Room for you. Peace.